Hey, welcome to Taking Trades. My name is Jimmy, and this is my channel where I like to share my day trading entries, exits, logic, strategy, and really anything surrounding day trading. So welcome. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and let's jump into things. So today's the 22nd of February, 2019, and exciting day for me because I took another trade. I mentioned in the past I've been a little more restrictive on the trades I'm taking, trying to find better setups that sort of fit my style and feel right to me. So I'm refining that each day, and I actually got to take a nice trade today on Kraft Heinz. Kraft Heinz had some horrible news this morning. Everything was crumbling around it, and so I was watching it a little bit in the pre-market, and then once it opened, it gave me a nice pullback. I took a short position and then took half my position off as it legged down. Then I just let the second half ride until the market told me when to exit. So overall, it was a great trade. Really excited to show it to you guys. And in the comments, let me know how you did. Let me know if you're red, if you're green, and also what stocks you traded. I'm curious to know if you hit large caps, if you went small caps, if you went natural gas, whatever, let me know. Let's jump into it. Hey, welcome. All right, here we go. We got the chart up, and let's go ahead and take a peek at this. So you can see I've got Kraft Heinz company chart up right now. This is the 5-minute chart. And I'm actually going to move myself up here for a minute. And so the thing to look at here, well, first of all, let's talk about the craziness that happened this morning. So on the 5-minute chart, you can see that Kraft Heinz up here was trading at close yesterday, was up, in the 48s. So insane what happened overnight. But they had a lot of bad news that came out, and they ended up having some downgraded multiple times after earnings announcements. They had talking about Kraft scandals. They were talking about losing investment grade credit ratings. They had tons of bad press coming out, and it was all over the news, and it's all anyone was talking about. And so I went ahead and was looking at it to see if we could find an opportunity on it, and the massive gap down was my first indication. I found that on my gap scanner this morning, and just kind of kept an eye on it through the pre-market and then watched it into the open. And if I kind of zoom in here, and then so you can see my entries, I have to kind of flatten the chart just a little bit. But the market opened, and I had marked off this level where it had touched and got rejected. So that was sort of a level. My thought was, if it breaks down below that level, the stock's probably in play, and there's nothing below it. It's like a free fall below it. And I don't mean to switch around so much, but I do want to show you the daily chart here. So if I zoom way out, I maxed out the daily chart and was scrolling all the way back. And this thing is like the lowest it's ever been. So it's been pretty beat up, and you can see we've gapped down even lower now. And so when I brought this 5-minute chart up, I mean, look at this. It just massive chaos going on here. So that's the volatility that we need to put on great trades. And so what I did was, it broke through this level. And my strategy, or the way that I like to trade, is I like to see something break through a level and then give me a pullback sort of back into that level and show that the support turned into overhead resistance, and then go shorter. So in a short sale scenario, going long, I like to see area of resistance get broken and turn into an area of support to go long. So in this case, it broke down, but then it chopped. It was back up. Then it gave these like sort of hammer dojis that were showing and maybe even indicating a little buying pressure on these. So I didn't necessarily like those. Then I got a pin bar showing selling pressure. Then we started to crack and go lower. So this grabbed my attention. These 5-minute candles moving to the downside, setting a new low for the day, came down here and bottomed out. Then we got a green candle. So then I was watching this really close for a pullback entry. Green candle, and then here, this candle opened, and I placed my order 1 penny below the low of this candle. So the low on that candle was 34.82, and actually I placed my order at 34.80 to go short with 200 shares. So this candle triggered my order at 34.80. So I was in short 200 shares at 34.80, and I put my stop a penny above the high. So 35.04 was the high on this candle. My stop was 35.05 right up here. So we got the first leg down, and I went ahead and I covered up 100 shares. So this kind of distorts the view, having to tuck that up, but it was sort of a nice push down. It was almost 20 cents, and I went ahead and took that off. So I booked some profit, and now what's nice about this is because I took a little size off, now I can wait. If things go against me, then the trade's going to end up being about break even if I get stopped out. If the trade pulls back and rolls over to go lower, I could possibly add to that position and build my size back up and then take more off as we go lower. So it went lower, I took 100 off, pulled back up gently and rolled a little bit. So I didn't feel comfortable adding there. It wasn't a significant enough push down with a significant enough pullback. So I just kept watching it ride, but it kept coming down and touching 50, like the $0.50. So I knew that we had some psychological resistance at 34.50, and that was sort of building a really substantial support level, because you can see here it went down near to the $0.50. Here, like they were all kind of setting up this 34.50-ish area. And so I said, well, you know, normally I would have probably gotten nervous about that and wanted to exit with profit. But sort of this new me is wanting to say, you know, logically thinking, well, my stop is up here, so I'm fine. I don't need to worry about jumping out. We're below my stop. We've already booked profit. We're sort of in the driver's seat on this trade, is a way to think about it. And it tried to break. It couldn't do it. So I had been following my stop down. So when this pushed down, pulled back, and went lower, I moved my stop right above this top of this candle. So this was at 34.75 was the high on this candle and this candle. I went ahead and set it at 34.76 was my stop. Then it went lower, pushed back up higher. It then went lower. So then I moved my stop down here. So I kept just trying to follow it, even though this, you know, really wasn't going anywhere. I was still trying to follow it the best I can. And then on this candle, we got a big rush in of volume. You can see it peaked here and just shot right up and stopped me out. So I got stopped at 34.77 with slippage. So ended up booking profit on the trade. Ended up going really, really well. And the nice thing is, if this trade would have gone on for hours and hours and just continued to just bleed and fall, I would have been along for the ride the whole way. And who knows what the profits would have been. So it's really exciting to know that I kept myself in the trade long enough that I could have realized some major profits if the stock would have wanted to do that. Now, the problem with this stock today is that all of its move, its massive move, it all happened really, you know, before I was out of bed. You know, like it really was the aftermarket. I mean, it just crashed down here, trickled along in the pre-market, and then dumped again. So my thought on this was, moving forward, I'm going to start watching things a little closer, you know, in this last hour to 2 hours of the pre-market. Because my thought was, I was asking myself, what would have gotten me in the pre-market? And my answer to that was, let me turn off these trades. My answer to that is, if I bump up to the 15-minute time frame, this for me is a perfect entry. Big push down, and then lighter volume, stepping back. So as this 15-minute candle broke this low right here, I could have gone short there. And that would have been right around the 34.80 or 35.84 area. And I could have ridden that all the way down to the $0.50 like I did, but I just got in a little later. So that's another option. So I'm going to start watching that, because on the 5-minute chart, you know, maybe it wasn't as appealing to me on that on this time frame. When I look at it, it pulled back, but you know, it pulled back, and then this would have kind of been an area of interest for me. You know, breaking this low, getting a pullback and going low. But the problem is there's not as much volume in the pre-market, so the moves aren't as clean. So to clean the move up, I can step back to a larger time frame, and sometimes that gives you enough, you know, it can clean the moves up enough that you can see a little more of the volume. It sort of compresses things and gathers up a little bit of the volume, combines more of the smaller candles into larger candles. You know, these are 3 5-minute candles for each one of these 15-minute candles. So it kind of cleans it up a little and makes it look clearer to me. So this would have been a legit entry. I would have taken this. So it's something for me to think about moving forward. And other than that, though, this was just an awesome trade. And now you can see it's starting to move lower. So then the question becomes, you know, this was a lower low, I mean a lower high from here, lower high. This was just another lower high on the larger time frame. So maybe I should have stayed in the trade. You know, we'd be going even lower. So yeah, hindsight. It's fun to look at it and break the stocks down and see, you know, what they ended up doing later in the day when you're not in the position any longer. But anyway, so that was my trade. Great day. Green, finishing the week green. Let me know how you guys did today. Let me know what you traded. Let me know, you know, if you had any problems, if you have any questions, if you have any input on this trade, if you have any other strategy that you use when you're trading pullbacks, let me know. I'd love to hear them. But other than that, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.